JAX TV here from the JAX conference in Mainz, Germany. I'm here with Mik Kersten. Mik, you are CEO from Task-fokussierten Technologies,
yes,
the project behind Eclipse Mylyn effort.
Yeah, I created the Mylyn project and continue to lead it. Task-fokussierten has quite a few committers on Mylyn, but the project's also grown very fast to be much more than just Task-fokussierten as well.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps you can explain in a few words what is Mylyn?
So Mylyn is a task and application lifecycle management framework for Eclipse. So it takes this core idea that developers work on tasks, and those tasks can be an agile user story, they can be a defect, they can be a new feature that you're trying to add. And instead of seeing the entire complexity of a system that you work on, so all the Java code that's in a package, in a project, in a system, you see only what's relevant to your task. And we automatically link all the other application lifecycle management systems together by letting you work directly on tasks. So you activate a task, you say, I'm now working on this user story, and then as you work on the code, you see only the code that's relevant to the task. A change set is automatically created in your, say, Subversion, your Perforce, whatever your SCM system is. We have a broad range of SCM system integrations right now. So you see only, all your changes are organized per task as well. We're getting more build system integrations, things like code reviews that are starting to show up in your task list as well. So we've taken this idea of the task-focused interface that Mylyn first created, and that was sort of what my original contribution to the project for my PhD thesis. And then we've taken that and made application lifecycle management tools integrate with it, so that the developer gets a very streamlined experience, can multitask with a single click. So you deactivate a code review, and then instantly you're back to the feature you're working on. A high priority defect comes in, you activate that, start navigating in stack trace, and you can share that context with somebody else. So it's real developer-centric streamlining of the application lifecycle management process, all integrated with the Eclipse IDE.
And it's a very popular Eclipse plugin.
Yeah, it got popular quickly because this was such a sore point for developers, not being able to, having to switch into another browser to use an issue tracker, not having that link with the IDE, so you see a stack trace, you have to copy, paste it, search for things, and so on. So that's all the old way of working. Mylyn is now in almost every Eclipse distribution, and yeah, it's the way that developers interact with their agile project management tools rather than the web user interface. We integrate with the web user interface nicely as well. If someone wants to use that, you can always pop into it, but most of the time you spend in the rich client that's embedded inside Eclipse, where you have all that those structured navigation facilities. And we have a much more streamlined user interface.
So recently you announced that the project is going to be restructured. What's the reason behind this effort?
Right. So we went from when we first created APIs for the first for issue trackers, then defect tracking tools, then more for agile, then SCM tools, and then we had the review tools come on board, interested in Mylyn as well. That was a conversation that actually started at the JAX conference a year ago with the review Eclipse people, and they're now part of the Mylyn project, and things grew and grew. We have altogether, publicly available over 4 dozen integrations now, and to have one project manage all of that is a little, it just gets challenging. So we've broken up the Mylyn project into separate sub-projects. One for task management, one for context management, this workspace focusing on multitasking. One for SCM integration, like what we're doing with what we've done with Subversion CVS, the commercial integrations you have in Task-fokussierten as well, the enterprise version of Mylyn. Get everything that's coming down the pipeline, Hudson integrations coming soon. So it's for build integration. So the next sub-project is the build sub-project, where your continuous integration system becomes available from your IDE as well. What's really nice about that is not only can you see the status of your builds from the IDE, but you can if a build fails, you can right-click it, create a defect in any of the supported issue tracking systems. You can reload failed tests right into Eclipse, so you're rerunning the tests in Eclipse right away without having to create test suites and do all those things manually. Because again, we want to make sure everything is automated for the developer. We reduce all that time wasted configuring, clicking, and switching tasks and so on. Then we also have the reviews project that's new. That's started by the review Eclipse people, but Ericsson's joined that as well with their with extensions to it for things like formal IEEE-based review. And then the docs project. That's where the wiki text component is. That's where rich text editing that works on tasks, where you can author and wiki syntax or in HTML format or XHTML. So that's going to be the docs project. So yeah, we've broken up the project up along the application lifecycle management boundaries. And after Helios, those projects are going to, so for Helios, nothing is breaking. The Mylyn APIs are going to stick around. But post Helios, that will be the new structure of the projects with leads for each of the sub-projects as well.
Mm. And when do we see the first releases under this new
in the summer.
In the summer.
Yeah.
Mm. So on the list of the interested parties in this restructuring is also Microsoft.
Yes.
What's the relation between Desktop or Mylyn and Microsoft?
So Microsoft is on the list because they acquired TeamPrise, which is an Eclipse integration for Team Foundation Server. Team Foundation Server is, I think it's an increasingly popular ALM solution. And because there are a lot of places where you've got developers doing .NET in Visual Studio, but also some Java or PHP, one of the things that Eclipse is good at, they need to access the same SCM tool, the same issue tracker and project tracking tool. So for the Eclipse-based developers, we're the standard user interface. And so there's overlap between that and Microsoft. Now, our relationship with Microsoft today with Tasktop has actually been focused on improving the quality of the user experience on Windows 7. Windows 7 has some very nice new user interface concepts. We want to make sure that we got those into the 3.6 release, the upcoming Helios release in June, and we've done that. So you've got things like on the Windows taskbar, you can create a new task from that just by right-clicking it. You see progress when your query synchronizes, or when CVS or Subversion are going to synchronize, you'll be able to see progress on the taskbar itself, so you know when to switch back into the Eclipse window. Better find box widget improvements around Windows 7 as well. Those are all going to be in Helios. So that's been another part of our collaboration with Microsoft.
Mm. The one question about the E4 project is the new generation of the Eclipse platform. Currently, Mylyn doesn't support E4. Right?
Well, E4 has a compatibility layer. It's basically compatible with, it's from everything we've seen, it's compatible with older plugins. What Mylyn does is it layers in the focusing part, the context subproject now. It layers in with the notion of Eclipse viewers, filters, and all those sorts of abstractions. Those abstractions are still present in E4. So in general, we work in E4, but there is this opportunity to do a little bit more. So for example, Mylyn, it uses a lot of internals inside both SWT and JFace and Workbench, those parts of Eclipse, because it was an unforeseen innovation, this idea of focusing and one-click multitasking. So the amazing thing about Eclipse is the modularity is such that we could actually implement it without changing the core of Eclipse because we had access to those internals. But this is a good opportunity for us to wean ourselves off those internals and ask for that API in E4. So that's something that we've been looking at as E4 gets to its 1.0 release.
Mm. So later on, you have a talk about the new social collaboration possibilities in Mylyn. What are you going to plan there in this domain?
Yes, what we're with technologies like Twitter, like Facebook, maybe less Facebook because you probably people tend to manage their social networks there, but we are seeing developers pick up those social technologies and use them for their interaction. So I've seen many tweets go by with a URL that points to an Eclipse bug. So we thought the whole idea of this task focus interface is that all the information that you need for any task should be in one place. So let's say that you're about to start working on a new bug on Eclipse.org or something on your team, you're about to start fixing a feature. If a social medium was used to discuss that, even if you didn't know about it, you should have that content accessible. So one thing I'm going to show, for example, is that you open this bug, any tweet that was ever said about that bug, we find, and you see them just as if they were comments, a different kind of comments on that same task editor, whether it was a Bugzilla bug, a Rally user story, whatever it is. You've got everything that's related to that, whether it comes from email, whether it comes from social communication media, you've got that on the task editor itself. So if someone, you're going to go fix this Eclipse defect, and someone just tweeted 30 seconds ago that they think this is completely the wrong approach, why don't you look at this new bug they filed? Otherwise, you might not know that. But because we're now hooking in to the social collaboration tools, we're able to link in both the asynchronous communication of Twitter, but also we're doing a little bit more around instant messaging tools, so you can instant message tasks back and forth as well. The whole big idea is that for developers, for the software development process, we anchor all communication in around tasks, so that when you get to a task, you've got everything you need to get it done, including the context. And that's now reaching out to social communication media as well. So.
Very interesting. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Hardwood.
And enjoy the JAX conference.
Yeah, no, it's a great
first time that you are here, no?
It is definitely not the first time I'm here. I very much like this conference. It's always, one of the best shows I go to. So,
cool.
Very nice being here.
Okay, thanks.